Yes, hi there. These comments are for Diego, and I am Michael. I am the founder, owner, and the materials writer for all of your lessons at the 7-step system to pass a TOEFL IBT. And let's take a look at your situation. So you left a comment at my website. You say, I've been searching for the best resource to study for the TOEFL. I took the exam more than 1 month ago and I just got 69. So you scored 19 on the reading, 12 points in the listening, 18 points in the speaking, and 20 on the writing. You say, I teach English as a foreign language, but I didn't prepare for the test. And you want to see here, I also am rusty about English because of my new job was not challenging. Don't say because of, say because my new job was not challenging. So if you're using because of, that's a preposition. You need to put an object after it. In this case, though, you have a subject and a verb, so the subordinating clause connector is better than the preposition. You say, I've chosen to join your program, and that's why I'd like to know something before paying. Say, how many sample replacement tests can I take through your program? My goodness. Okay, so what I'll probably recommend for you, if you study for 2 months, I'm going to recommend my 60-day study guide, but let me just show you a couple of things to answer your question. So step 1 is vocabulary, right? So basically here we have different vocabulary lessons, and what you can do is you can click on lesson number 3 and take a look at the words and maybe take one of the practice tests. If you think it's too easy, then skip it. And then you can try lesson 4, you can try one of the quizzes here, the same thing here. And if any of these things you think are too easy, you can skip it. Now another thing you can do to see if you need to study the vocabulary, and I actually think you do, so disregard the comments I'm going to say there. Okay, with pronunciation, what most of my students do, Diego, is you're going to do 2 things. Number 1, you want to complete Speak Clearly lesson number 1, the pretest. This will tell me what pronunciation problems you have with the first 24 lessons of my course. Once you've studied those lessons based on my recommendations, then you take the second pretest in the pronunciation, and I will tell you which of these lessons you need to focus on. In the grammar part of my course, I also have a grammar diagnostic pretest, which will tell you which lessons you need to study in the grammar part of my course. You can also take a grammar post-test to check your progress when you've completed those lessons. With listening, I don't really have a listening pretest, and what I recommend is start going through my listening practice test and complete as many as you can in the 2 months that you have. And these are all TOEFL level, even in some cases more difficult than the TOEFL. In the reading part of my course, you want to complete, the most important thing you can do is, of course, go through my reading lessons and learn the IBT reading question types and the strategies for answering them, and then you want to work on improving your reading speed. It will take you to 350 words per minute. This will have a very big impact on your reading proficiency and ultimately your reading score, because I notice you need improvements. With writing, I don't have a writing diagnostic test. What you do is you start going through my independent and integrated writing lessons, and you want to start completing writing practice tests. Right? I have over 40 independent writing practice tests. I have 43 integrated writing practice tests, and they're designed pretty similar to the actual TOEFL exam. Speaking, I have even more practice for you, Diego, and it is. You looked at what I have as a resource, and that's exactly what my online TOEFL course is. Essentially, my online TOEFL course replaces an intensive English program, honestly. So if you're spending thousands of dollars every quarter going to an intensive English program, if you're motivated and you're a self-starter and you can work on your own, you don't have a teacher reminding you what to do, or you don't need a teacher reminding you what you should do each day, my online TOEFL course is a very good resource to help you. With the speaking, as you can see, I have independent speaking practice test and I have additional topics 31 through 300 that you can practice. I also have integrated speaking topics, not as many, but I do have 20 that help prepare you for integrated speaking tasks number 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now also, if you need them, I also have full-length IBT and section-specific practice tests. If you want a practice test for it, and it looks exactly like the TOEFL exam, this does cost a little bit extra, and I do recommend that my students take a full-length IBT practice test before taking their next TOEFL exam so they can practice a little bit before the actual test. You can go to the 8th section of my course to learn more about that. See that? Alright, so how many sample or placement tests? I think I've answered that. In all, believe it or not, Diego, I have over 700 lessons and practice tests to help you improve your academic English, particularly with your vocabulary, pronunciation, grammar, reading, listening, writing, and speaking areas. You say, how are the feedback, or you want to say, how is the feedback you give regarding speaking and writing? So let's talk about speaking. I'm going to take you right now to my Voxy Pop discussion group, Diego, so you can see how it works. What you do is you will find a speaking topic at my website that you want to answer, and you're going to post it at my Voxy Pop discussion group for TOEFL IBT speaking practice. So today it looks like I've already graded, I think, 3, but this is a new one, this is a new one, and then we have these 3. But this student should not post more than 1. You're only allowed to post 1 practice test each day. So I have to talk to this person, but this is what will happen. Let me show you what happened here. So Fodumo posted an integrated speaking practice test here.
Both the reading basic and the talk explain.
See this? This is this is for integrated speaking practice test number 4, reading, listening, speaking, casual.
Important for the students to succeed for their life.
Now, once she does the practice test, then I will give her comments.
Right, hi, Fadumo, this is Michael. I'm going to
so we communicate online. She'll post the practice test one day, then the next day I listen to it, score it, give her some comments, even recommend some lessons.
Both the reading basic and the talk explain that person.
So I'll actually replay what she said, and as I replay it, I'll comment on it to give her tips on what she can do to improve her delivery, her language use, and also her topic development. So that's pretty much how it works. Alright, so let's say here, my target is to reach 80 because a scholarship was offered to me. I am willing to study at least 5 hours a day during almost 2 months. Do you think it's possible to improve 11 or more points? Yes, it is. It is possible. I can't guarantee anything, of course. It all depends on you and how consistent you are as you study. Alright, so I do have some suggestions. Now let me give you an example too. I had one of my students over the last 2 months. Her TOEFL score was 61 when I met her. She worked really hard for 2 months. She retook the TOEFL and she got 74. So she hasn't reached her goal yet. Her goal is like you. She wants 80, but she has definitely made some improvements, and I think she's maybe 1 month more of good solid study, and then she will be able to reach her goal. So I think it is possible. And remember that, Diego, every student is different. I can't say that you will get exactly the same results as her, or you'll make the same kind of improvements in the same amount of time. Everybody is a little bit different on that, as you probably know. So what I want to do now is to recommend a specific study plan. Now, this is the most important part of the video because I'm going to outline what you need to do every day in order to reach your goal. And my suggestions are to help prepare you for the TOEFL exam, to help you reach 80 in approximately 60 days. So, you can replay the video. You might want to write down how many minutes this is into the video, that maybe once a week you can watch this part of the video to review your plan. Alright? Number 1, get in the habit of reading every day for about 45 minutes. Your reading skill needs to be better than this. So when you're reading, I want you to read magazines, newspapers, and books, but your reading materials are not TOEFL materials. They should be reading materials you have an interest in. Number 2, get in the habit of practicing your listening for about 45 minutes every day. It's about the same amount of time. Your listening skills are even worse than your reading, so you definitely need more practice. Again, do not use TOEFL listening materials. I want you to find materials that you have an interest in. Right? So you can, if you have English TV, focus on news, documentary, history, Diego, and also science programs. Again, you got documentary, history, science, and news programs. These kinds of programs are going to give you pretty good English. Now, if you don't have English TV, I do have 3 specific websites that you can focus on. You might want to write these down. Number 1, National Public Radio. This is a great website to help you with your listening. Number 2, TED Talks, another good website to help you with listening. Number 3 is an ESL website. It's called Randall's Cyber Listening Lab. Now, as you're doing your reading and listening practice, Diego, I want you to start writing and speaking about these listening and reading passages. So you want to set a goal each week. I want you to write 3 250-word summaries. Each summary, in all, you're probably looking at about 750 words a week, and the summary should focus on the main and the most important supporting points of the reading and listening passages. Now, the second thing you want to do is to speak about the reading and the listening passages. These are called oral summaries. I want you to complete 3 to 5 oral summaries each week of the reading and listening passages. You should also record your voice talking about these reading and listening passages so you can monitor your own pronunciation, language use, and also your topic development, including organization and development of ideas. So far, I have not said anything about my course. The main thing is you get good, authentic practice with reading and listening passages, and then you speak and write about that information. Now, the last suggestion in this video is I'm going to recommend my 60-day TOEFL study guide for you. Now remember, I just showed you my entire course here. This is everything. Now, if you don't want to use a study guide, you can pick out any lesson you want. You can do whatever you want. But some students, when they look at my course, they're like, my goodness, Michael, there's over 700 lessons. What do I do? Where do I start? So if you want a specific plan and you want to just go to a syllabus and click on a day and just click on different lessons each day without having to find all my lessons, you can use my TOEFL study guide, the 60-day TOEFL study guide, to help you improve your vocabulary, pronunciation, grammar, reading, listening, writing, and speaking areas. You see what I'm saying? So I think that's probably what's going to work for you the best. Now, the next question, how to pay because I don't have a credit card. So what you want to do now is to go over to my FAQ page. You do have another option. Here, you can read about it right here. And that's called Western Union. Now, if you don't want to use Western Union, it might be possible to go to PayPal and you can transfer some money from your bank into PayPal. Then PayPal will draw from that to pay me. So you have to link your bank account to your PayPal account. Then you can pay me that way. If not, you can use Western Union. But if you use Western Union, the minimum payment is for 3 months up front, which is $105. All right, now remember, my course pretty much for you is free. The $38 a month, it simply covers my operating costs, and my teaching assistant will be the one who will grade your writing practice test. He will not correct all the grammar in your essays. Not for $38 a month, as you can probably guess. He will score it. I've instructed my TA to give you a score and to give you some basic feedback to help you with your writing. But my teaching assistant will not rewrite your essay and point out all the errors that you're having. It takes over an hour to do that. You have to be very skilled to do that, and that's where I come in. So it is possible. If you want me to error correct one of your essays, I do have an additional service in which you can do that, but it's not going to be cheap. I'll be honest with you, it's very time consuming to go through one of your essays and to correct all the errors. That takes a lot of time. However, my teaching assistant can read your essay and he can score it pretty quickly in about 5 minutes, and he can tell you your score is 20 out of 30, or it's 24 points out of 30, or it's 15 points out of 30. He can give you a pretty good idea where you are pretty quickly without a lot of investment. Okay, so hopefully I've answered most of your questions here. Let me go back to what you said. So I think it is possible. So my recommendation is you're probably spending, I recommend about an hour and a half to 2 hours a day following my first few suggestions, where you're reading, listening, and then writing and speaking about that information. Then you can spend maybe another 2 hours a day going through the lessons in my online TOEFL study guide. Then if you have more time, maybe you can watch the movies. That's also a great way to improve your English. Even your pronunciation and speaking, and also your listening, can get better. All right, Diego, so that's it. Again, thank you for your comments, and all the best to your high-scoring TOEFL success.